men out there. I think to a certain extent, I'm a very unique sort of unicorn of a woman. And so it's going to take a unique person. And in the meantime, I have really learned how to live my life and enjoy it and not sit around waiting. The truth is that I'm a rare breed. So like there might not be a match that's a rare breed for a while.
I want to separate my emotions from logic. My emotions tell me that Tracee Ellis Ross is beautiful, fit, fun, quirky, and a great catch. Logic tells me that she is lying because she has an overinflated view of who she is and her place in the world. Hear me out. Either we are all special unicorns or none of us are. She is not the only one who is special. The fact that she thinks her uniqueness made her single lets me know how little she knows about herself and how relationships work. We have to admit that sometimes some people just don't want it that bad. There are things in life, places where I am comfortable, because whatever the alternative is, I just don't want it that bad. I know the things I value. I know how hard I work and fight for the things I really, really want. If I was not getting results with something that I wanted for years, I would have to look at my patterns and behavior because I am and would be the common denominator to all of my issues. Although people can do things to me outside of my control, it is up to me to try to control what I can. I wanted to be married and to be a mom more than anything, and it would be over my dead body for me to be stopped in those areas. Yes, I got discouraged at times. Similar to Tracy, I did not want to marry the wrong person. I believe that even when things are handed to us, we have to work hard to maintain it. The only one who could get in between me and my dreams is God Himself. There is no point in blaming men, pointing fingers, saying it's His fault. If I wanted it that bad, even after 52 years, I will be focused on why it has taken 52 years. Not focused on other people, other men, the patriarchy, tradition, and masculinity. Tracy is her own problem. Black women, we are our own problem. I have never heard Tracy say how she can improve. I have only heard her blame men, older men, traditional men, masculine men. She is the problem and the solution to her problem. Tracee Ellis Ross. So you guys know I have a video that I just did. I think it was called What Black Women Don't Understand About Love. And one of the things that I noticed that Tracee Ellis Ross said in this interview with Michelle Obama on Michelle Obama's podcast is she keeps calling herself a unicorn. And so she uses that word pretty often, that she's a unique unicorn. And, you know, that has to do with why she's 51 and still single. And I just want to challenge that because, you know, I'm curious what she thinks is so unique about her other than the fact that she has not made a decision about who she wants to commit to. And I listened to the episode of the Michelle Obama's podcast, which, by the way, for those of you who follow the Curated Legacy podcast, Michelle Obama's podcast is becoming slowly not as boring as it was in the beginning, and probably because of the guests that she chooses to have on her show. But as I listened to Michelle Obama talk to Tracee Ellis Ross, it was very interesting and very apparent that they have different mindsets about love. And it was almost like Michelle Obama was preaching to Tracee Ellis Ross without Tracee Ellis Ross perhaps even being aware that Michelle Obama was almost like preaching to her. And I think it's, the unpopular opinion here is this idea of thinking that you are so uniquely special above so many other people. Now that sounds harsh because you might say, well, Nika, don't you think you're special? Well, here's the thing. We're all special. So, I think that Tracee Ellis Ross seems to me to find different reasons to explain why she's single at 51, why she never had children. And she admits in this interview that she had to kind of grieve that fact, that she likely will never have any children, or at least not in the, biological, natural way. And she's not sure if she's ever going to get married. She's struggling with dating. And as I listen to her, all I can think about is the only thing that I can think here that makes you such a unique unicorn, as she kept saying, is her inability to decide, to make a decision. Because the truth is that love is a decision. Yes, it is unsexy to call it that because people, of course, always want to talk about the flowers and the rainbows. And it can be that, but it's also a decision. And if you hear Michelle Obama, it was like her stance was very much, she made a decision. She decided to marry Barack. And she talks about how a good 10 years of their marriage sucked, and I obviously know that's nobody's goal. But we see them, the Obamas, as having, this amazing marriage. And to hear Michelle Obama say that, no, 10 years kind of sucked, speaks volumes. So it's almost like I don't know what Tracee Ellis Ross is expecting. Things to be perfect, for some other unicorn to fall out of the sky. But the truth of the matter is there's a decision that needs to be made. And of course, you want that to be with the right person. But a lot of people in relationships and married can accept the fact that, yes, you married the right person, or yes, you're with the right person, but you're also with what I've heard called the good enough person. So it's not about this person having 100% or even 90% of everything on whatever list you might have had, but this person having enough that you can make a decision and commit. And that is why I think Tracee Ellis Ross is a unicorn. It's not for the reason that she might think it is, in my opinion, because she struggles with commitment. And I think she's expecting love to look like something that it's not for most people. Even not even for Michelle Obama, as much as we love Michelle Obama. It's not even that for her. So, I think it also, this conversation kind of also spills over into another conversation about people in relationships thinking they're better than people who are single. This kind of comes up from time to time, and I've watched a couple videos about this idea that, why does it seem like people who are in relationships think that they're better? And what I would say to that is, I don't necessarily, are there people in relationships who might think they are better? Of course. But I think a lot of people in relationships is not so much that we think we're better than single people, but it's almost like we figured out something or learned something or have a common understanding of something. And so it's like we're speaking a certain language, or it's like perhaps we have a certain code of conduct to some extent among us. It's something we know. Perhaps not all people in relationships, but some of us have an awareness that folks who are single may not have yet. Doesn't mean you won't have it. And therefore, that awareness, that kind of shared understanding is why maybe it can come across like, oh, we think we're better. Michelle Obama very much never came off at all like she was better than Tracee Ellis Ross in this interview, but she definitely, to me, came off as like she has a higher level understanding. And she just came off to me very wise and very matter of fact and very real, like realistic expectations. And I think sometimes single people, and again, this is not all single people, sometimes some single people, and I'm going to fixate on single women, single Black women, sometimes their expectations can be unrealistic. And it's like this constant, it seems like they're constantly seeking something perfect. And they're constantly trying to pursue something that people who are in relationships long term and who are married know that like what they're going for. You don't want to crush anybody's hopes and dreams about this perfect, unicorn of a person that they're looking for. But at the same time, many of us know the reality. And it's not about settling. Again, it is the unsexy part of love that nobody talks about. Decisions. Making a decision, not only one time, but every day. Every day, every disagreement or argument, every whatever it is, making that decision. And so it's hard as someone who's been in a long-term relationship and or married to listen. It can be hard to listen to someone like Tracee Ellis Ross, who to me just sounds like she's talking in circles. And then the rhetoric has been the same. For those of us who have kind of listened to her whenever she does talk about dating and relationships, nothing has changed. The same thing she's saying now is the same thing she was saying, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. And it's like, at what point is she going to realize that perhaps, and again, I don't know all her business, but perhaps she is the reason why she's single. It's not because you haven't necessarily found the right person, but perhaps something within her needs to shift. Because how is it that most people, many people, not most, many people have found someone? Not that they found anyone perfect, but they found someone. And at 51, she's still, saying the same thing she was saying probably at 41. But please do go down in the comment section, leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Click the links in the description box and get to know what I do with my media business, Curated Legacy LLC. Become a channel member. You can click that join button at the top of your screen, or you can look in the description box and click that link if you want to become a Black and Invisible channel member to support the channel and to get some perks and benefits. I have a book about being an invisible Black woman on Amazon, so you're welcome to click that link in the description box to check that out. You can follow me on Instagram if you feel compelled to do that. Also, I have a Black-owned store on Amazon, so feel free to click that link in the description box. And I think that's it for now. That's all that I can think of. My name is Neka, and I am here to make the invisible visible. About Black women, I highlight the things that Black women wouldn't tell you. One more thing, I offer YouTube coaching and consulting if you are an aspiring YouTuber. So feel free to, that link is out. You can go to my website. So feel free to go to my website to learn more about my services, my coaching, my consulting, mentoring, and speaking. So you can go to my website for more information. It's curatedlegacy.com. I highlight the things that Black women wouldn't tell you. And as always, stay tuned for more videos.